Welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today, we're going to be cracking open a paper
Oh, yeah.
that's shaking up the world of strategic management research.
Sounds exciting.
It dares to ask, does leadership really impact a company's performance?
And it uses a pretty fascinating method to get to the bottom of it. It's called meta-analytic structural equation modeling,
Okay.
or MASEM for short.
Ooh, MASEM.
Yeah.
Sounds intense. Break it down for us.
Think of MASEM as a super detective.
Okay.
It not only looks at individual clues, in this case findings from hundreds of different studies,
Right, yeah.
but it maps out the entire crime scene,
Right.
how all those clues connect to the bigger picture.
So instead of just seeing like a bunch of random fingerprints,
Yeah.
MASEM helps us understand how they all fit together to tell the story.
Exactly. It combines the power of meta-analysis,
Mhm.
which brings together tons of research,
Right.
with structural equation modeling,
Okay.
which helps us see the relationships between different factors
Yeah.
like leadership style and company performance.
So it's like having a horse race between different theories,
That's a great way to put it.
seeing which one holds up best when you look at a mountain of evidence.
Yeah, and what's amazing is that MASEM can handle data sets with sometimes hundreds of thousands of observations,
Wow.
giving us incredibly robust conclusions.
And now that's where I call data-driven decision-making.
Uh-huh, right.
But every detective has their limits. All right.
Of course. MASEM isn't a magic crystal ball. It
Yeah.
can't definitively prove cause and effect,
Okay.
especially if the studies it relies on are not experimental.
So we still need those good old-fashioned experiments to really nail down causality.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
And the quality of the research that MASEM draws from is crucial.
Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And like any good detective, MASEM needs to be careful about how it handles things like missing evidence,
Right.
or in this case, missing data.
There are statistical techniques to deal with those challenges, but it's something researchers have to be mindful of.
Okay, so we've got our super sleuth, MASEM.
All right.
Now let's see it in action. The paper we're diving into uses a MASEM to tackle that age-old question.
Mm-hmm.
Does leadership really matter? And I hear they used a massive amount of data for this investigation.
They absolutely did.
Like, how much are we talking here?
We're talking data from a whopping 208 published articles,
Wow.
covering almost 500,000 observations.
Okay.
A real treasure trove of information.
Wow, that's a lot of data. What were they looking for in all of that?
They wanted to test different models,
Okay.
see which one best explained the connection between leadership and company performance.
Okay.
Think of it like trying on different hats to see which one fits best.
So they had a few suspects lined up,
Yeah,
each with a different theory about how leadership impacts the bottom line.
precisely. One model was a direct effects model.
Okay.
This one says that a leader's characteristics, like their experience or personality,
Mm-hmm.
directly influence the company's success.
Pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward.
What were the other contenders?
They also looked at two mediated models,
Okay.
where the relationship between leadership and performance is a bit more nuanced.
Okay, things are starting to get interesting.
Yeah.
What were these mediated models all about?
The first one was rooted in agency theory,
Mm-hmm.
which suggests that boards of directors play a key role in monitoring and influencing top management teams.
So it's like the board is the watchdog, making sure the leadership team stays on track.
Exactly. But then they flipped that logic on its head with the second mediated model,
Right.
suggesting that top management teams, or TMTs,
Right.
might actually be the ones shaping the board's decisions.
Hold on, are you saying that the CEO and their team might be calling the shots?
That's what this model proposes.
Even influencing the board that's supposed to be overseeing them?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is where NSEM comes in to help us sort through the evidence and see which model holds the most weight.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. So who won this theoretical showdown?
Well,
What did MASEM reveal about leadership and performance?
well, if we just looked at simple correlations
Mm.
like traditional meta-analysis does,
Okay.
there did seem to be some links between leadership characteristics and company performance.
Interesting.
But MASEM,
Yeah.
with its super detective powers,
Right.
told a different story.
Ooh, a plot twist. Do tell.
It turns out that the relationship between leadership and performance isn't as straightforward as we might think. The most robust model MASEM identified suggests that it's actually the top management teams.
Oh, wow.
Those TMTs we talked about,
Right.
that might be shaping the board's decisions.
Whoa. That's a game changer. So instead of the board being the puppet master,
Right.
it's more like the management team is pulling the strings.
That's what the data seems to indicate.
Wow.
Remember, these findings are based on a huge data set, not just a single study.
Right.
So they carry a lot of weight.
So it's not just about having a good board or a strong CEO.
Right.
It's about understanding the complex interplay between the leadership team and the board.
Exactly. And this leads to a fascinating question. If TMTs are indeed shaping the board, what does that mean for the role of individual leaders?
Yeah, that's a great point. It makes you wonder, is the CEO really less powerful than we thought?
Yeah,
Or are they master strategists,
it's a good question.
subtly guiding their organization from behind the scenes?
It's almost like a chess game,
Ooh, I like that.
with each move influencing the next, ultimately aimed at driving the company's success.
So maybe it's not about the lone wolf leader anymore,
Right.
but about building a strong and strategic team that can effectively influence the board
Exactly.
and steer the company in the right direction.
That's a very interesting takeaway. This research challenges the traditional view of leadership
Yeah.
and highlights the importance of understanding the dynamics within the top levels of an organization.
This is all incredibly insightful, but I have to ask, how does this apply to our listener?
Yeah, that's a good question.
What can they take away from this deep dive into MASEM and leadership?
Well, for starters, it demonstrates the power of MASEM to challenge assumptions and uncover new insights in strategic management.
It's like MASEM gives us a pair of X-ray glasses, allowing us to see the underlying structures and connections
Yeah,
that drive organizational performance.
precisely. It shows us that simply looking at surface-level correlations can be misleading.
Okay.
We need to dig deeper and understand how different factors interact within complex systems.
And speaking of complex systems, the implications of this research go far beyond just understanding leadership.
Absolutely. This paper uses a powerful illustration of MASEM in action by focusing on strategic leadership. But the method itself can be applied to a wide range of business problems.
So for anyone out there who wants to go beyond those superficial explanations and really understand the nuts and bolts of how companies work,
Right.
this paper is a must-read.
It shows us that the answers we find can be surprising and even challenge our existing beliefs. And that's what's so exciting about research.
I agree.
It's a constant process of discovery, refining our understanding of the world around us.
Now, this paper specifically looked at the relationship between leadership and performance.
Right.
But as you mentioned, MASEM can be used to explore all sorts of questions in strategic management. Can you give our listeners some examples of how MASEM could be applied in other areas?
Certainly. Imagine you're trying to figure out what truly drives innovation within a company.
Okay.
MASEM can help you identify the hidden connections between factors like company culture, leadership style, and resource allocation that lead to breakthrough ideas.
So instead of just throwing money at R&D and hoping for the best,
Right.
MASEM can help you pinpoint the specific levers to pull to create a more innovative environment.
Exactly. Or let's say you're trying to predict market trends.
Okay.
MASEM can help you analyze massive data sets of consumer behavior, economic indicators, and competitor actions to identify the factors that are most likely to shape future demand.
It's like having a crystal ball.
Yeah.
But instead of relying on magic,
Uh-huh.
it's based on solid data and rigorous analysis.
Precisely. The possibilities are endless. Whether you're a CEO making strategic decisions, a manager trying to improve your team's performance, or an investor looking for the next big opportunity.
Right.
Understanding MASEM and how to apply it can give you a significant edge.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on leadership
Yeah,
and the power of MASEM to unlock insights.
absolutely.
But before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
I want to make sure our listener understands the key takeaways from the paper we discussed today.
Excellent point. The paper, by the way, is titled
Oh yeah, what was it called again?
Using Meta-analytic Structural Equation Modeling to Advance Strategic Management Research, Guidelines, and an Empirical Illustration via the Strategic Leadership Performance Relationship.
Got it.
Published in the Strategic Management Journal in 2016 by Wang Waldman and Guinness.
Thanks for reminding us. So what are the key takeaways our listeners should walk away with?
First, the study suggests that the relationship between leadership and company performance is not as simple as we might assume.
Okay.
It's not just about having a charismatic CEO or a strong board of directors.
Right.
The dynamics between the top management team and the board are much more nuanced and complex.
And second, the study highlights the power of MASEM as a tool for unraveling those complexities.
Exactly.
It allows us to synthesize vast amounts of data and test different models to identify the most robust explanations for how organizations work.
By combining meta-analysis with structural equation modeling,
Right.
MASEM provides a powerful framework for understanding complex systems and uncovering insights that traditional methods might miss.
And finally, this study underscores the importance of critical thinking when it comes to strategic management.
Absolutely.
We need to be willing to challenge our assumptions
Yes.
and look beyond simple correlations to understand the underlying mechanisms that drive organizational success.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This deep dive has shown us that by embracing new methods like MASEM and challenging conventional wisdom, we can gain a deeper understanding of the business world and make more informed decisions.
So for anyone listening who's ready to ditch those surface-level explanations and really dive deep into the real drivers of business success, this paper is definitely worth checking out.
And remember, this deep dive was tailored just for you.
That's right.
It's a taste of how powerful knowledge can be when it's distilled effectively.
We've explored a powerful new tool, MASEM, and uncovered some surprising findings about leadership.
We have.
But here's a final thought to ponder.
Okay.
If those top management teams are really shaping the board, what did that mean for corporate governance?
It raises questions about the balance of power at the top and whether boards are truly fulfilling their role as independent overseers.
It definitely challenges the traditional view of the CEO as the ultimate decision maker.
It does.
Maybe they're more like a conductor guiding a talented orchestra.
That's a great analogy, and it underscores the importance of understanding these complex dynamics within organizations.
So as you navigate the business world, whether you're leading a team, serving on a board, or just trying to make sense of it all, remember that things aren't always what they seem.
Very true.
Keep asking questions, challenge assumptions, and look for those hidden connections. That's where the real insights lie.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic tailored just for you.
Until then, keep exploring and keep learning.